greatest digital asset ever created. I'm so glad I accumulated before the space got saturated. XRP the greatest digital asset ever created. Make the haters aggravated, get the spaceship activated. XRP the greatest digital asset ever created. I'm so glad I accumulated.
What's goody guys? Welcome back to the channel. Where you get your crypto news. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel because hey, I'm trying to get these watch hours up, and I would love for you guys to support. Send it to your family. Yeah, this is me and everybody else who's been holding crypto since 2021 and beyond. We just surviving this bear market, ignore the FUD right now. People gonna smack you in the back, hit you in the front, telling you all this different news. Sell your crypto, or don't buy any more crypto, all this other good stuff. So yeah, man, just hold strong. It's we getting there. All right, so moving on. It says breaking, keeping this XRP price on your charts. So again, I've always told you guys, don't listen to people with their particular price marks on here, but I always love to see it anyway. But $13.59 announcement of the settlement. Obviously, that wasn't the case. $157. It was XRP relisted on all exchanges. It says $2,948 on Ripple's IPO and Banks partner, and then $59,000 global CBDC's integration. So as you guys can see, everybody's timeline on predictions of the price is bullshit. I would just say that, to say the least. And just keep stacking your bags, and don't listen to the noise of the prices and things like that. This is all clickbait, but it's always good to see and good to hear other things as well as time progresses. But since breaking, XRP expected to hit 10,000 per coin, according to the guy that claims he got a dream. He got a dream about XRP hitting 10K. I mean, hey, I if anything, I have dreams of XRP hitting 20,000. So, if anything, I need to be on here too. I've been having a lot of dreams. What y'all think? How many dreams did y'all had in XRP price and it hit? So, let's listen up to him on his dream and his prediction on XRP. Listen up.
5 major cryptocurrencies that will be the pillars of all the crypto. XP was what? XP. So you have prophetic words that are given by prophetic people that see in the spirit, but you never know the timing because there's depth perception to prophetic. There'll be 5. There's 3 that are very strong, and there's 1 that's the strongest. So I saw 1 in the middle, 2 on the side of them, and then it goes 2 more over like this. And then they were standing, each one like a pillar, like one of those Greek columns, rolling columns that looked like solid, like a granite, like a rock column. And there were support systems on the columns. The Holy Spirit showed me support systems.
He said the Holy Spirit sent him support systems on the columns of our XRP. I mean, listen, I believe in Jesus Christ himself, and he sends me predictions all the time on XRP. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it, Brandon. So all these dreams, I'm with you. I've been having them too. All right, so this is link2.com. This is where you're able to also invest in companies that are IPO. I spoke about Link2 before. I've also have a link in the description below if you want to start investing in these private companies that before they get into IPO, you're able to earn $500 towards your investment, and then you can see what things that you would like to invest in. So just a few companies here. I just click invest at the top bar, and they have different companies right here. Invest in pre-IPO companies. Ripple is also on here. Ripple is the company. XRP is the coin. So make sure you guys understand and distinguish the two, because there is a difference. BitPay, they have Ledger on here, if I'm not mistaken. They got a lot of, Glint Pay, if anybody know about Glint, I have that app as well. I Trust Capital, Kraken, Ledger is right here where you store your coins on the cold wallet. Patreon. So there's a lot of different companies. If you guys want to look into this, the link is in the description below, right? Let's move on. This is Brad Garlinghouse talking about obviously the market and on Fox Business News. Let's listen up real quick on Brad.
The SEC, one of the commissioners, XRP is the native token of the decentralized blockchain XRP ledger. Litigious. As recently as our conversation with Hester Peirce of the SEC, one of the commissioners, she said that the lawsuit against Ripple was still hovering. Where is it now? Because last night we started to hear that it may be disappearing.
So we have reached agreement with staff, and usually what happens is you reach agreement with staff makes recommendation to the commission, and then the commission votes. So anytime we make announcements about that, we are clear that we've reached agreement with staff. The commission hasn't yet voted, but what we've agreed is to dismiss and move on. We're actually getting, the SEC we had put in escrow a potential fine of $125 million. We're actually taking most of that back, including the interest that had been earned along the way. And I think it's just evidence that the Gensler SEC was on the wrong side of the law. And thanks to the new leadership at the SEC and in the White House, I think we're seeing a much more constructive, much more pro-innovation. We want these industries to grow at home.
When you say most of the $125 million you had parked in that little fund in case of the worst case scenario, what's left? Can you give us some?
The SEC is going to end up with a $50 million. The U.S. government's going to get $50 million. We've even talked about making that available in XRP. But look, at the end of the day, this is a major step forward. I think if you kind of zoom out and look at this, the Trump administration is absolutely living up to their promises. Guy David Sachs leading the effort at the White House, Scott Bessent, and certainly now Paul Atkins getting confirmed, I think, yesterday.
Yes.
These are people who are focused on how do we make sure this is an industry that can thrive at home with sensible regulation, common sense. And that's not what we had for the last 4 years.
What would you hope to see as common sense regulation? Have you talked to David Sachs, and what have you said? Hey, David, this at least needs to be front and center.
The two things that have the most momentum in Capitol Hill are around a stablecoin legislation and then something we generally call a market structure bill. Stablecoin legislation, because we haven't yet had clarity about at what point are banks involved, not involved, what kind of licensing is appropriate. Ripple recently launched our stablecoin under a New York trust license through the New York Department of Financial Services, which we think is kind of the gold standard for how to be regulated in this market. But having federal legislation that is providing clarity for the big players like USDC, Circle, as well as Tether is super important. I think we're going to see that sooner rather than later.
President Trump has made big strides that are very pro-crypto. It's got to be great for somebody like you. However, the price of, let's just say, Bitcoin, which reached a high after the election of something like $107,000, is nowhere near that now. I think XRP
all right, so
token.
That was pretty much the interview on Fox Business. He does have an extensive version, obviously, but you guys can check that out and research more on your end. All right, so I wanted you guys to take a look at this. Pretty much a billionaire has confirmed the start of the innovation of money is a recent interview. XRP is poised for a massive rise and connected to a new gold-backed alternative to the US dollar. Listen up to this. I really want you guys to hear this.
Any business person I've ever met in my life. I want to switch it around and I want to ask for some advice because all my viewers are young entrepreneurs or aspiring investors. The first thing I want to talk about is that you've seen many ups and downs in the market. You've seen some of the worst crashes in history. Do you think we're headed for another market crash?
Well, there'll be crashes and there'll be a final crash from which there is no return. I believe that because there is social dissonance and we don't have a solid financial basis anymore given all the debt, and we can just keep adding to the debt. So I think eventually it will collapse, and when it comes back, it will take some years to come back. The companies and the stocks will not exist.
Any business.
All right, so I want to move on really quick. Do I have enough time? I want to show this. I'll probably show this in the next time. But long story short, XRP Ripple donated to Ellen DeGeneres. I'll show that the next time. Because I don't want to make this video too long, but I do want to make sure it's strong. So XRP ETF was one of the most successful launch days to date to fund what have we done? So let me rewind this back really quick.
Jump right in here. You did just launch the first XRP ETF in the U.S. I'm just curious, how did day one go? I know there's still a little bit of time until market close here as we record this, but what have you seen thus far?
A terrific response. There was overwhelming excitement. I think a lot because we were overlooked. I mean, we made our filing and it was largely ignored. We were the only people to file with a ticker, and for whatever reason, it just was passed over, and it kind of took people by surprise. We filed as soon as we could after the old SEC regime left, and the 75 days. Effectiveness took place on Saturday, so we seeded yesterday, which was Monday, and launched today. I think it's almost a couple 100,000 shares. It's been a terrific, very successful launch. Our most successful launch day to date for any fund we've ever done.
And give us just the.
Alrighty. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave you guys with this: the internet of value. I want to make sure I definitely show you guys this because we are in a time where it is massive. XRP, Bitcoin, everything is going to shit, and it's time to start investing as well. When it's blood in the streets and when it's getting chaotic, this is the time you invest. I'm not a financial advisor, but make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. But make sure you watch this video real quick before you get up out of here.
What Ripple has done, both with our proprietary software and with the XRP ledger, which is a blockchain, using this digital asset, XRP, which is crypto asset like Bitcoin or like Ethereum, is we can move the value real time. And the founding mission of the initial brilliant engineers who put all of this together, their vision was the internet of value. Just like you can move just like I can send an email now across the world, and I don't know what server the recipient was on, and the recipient doesn't know what server I'm on. I probably don't know what server I'm on. I can hit send, and that email seamlessly, instantaneously moves to the receiver. And essentially, that's what we do with value. That's what we do with money. It actually settles. And we've been doing that. We've been trying to perfect it. And again, we've built a very successful business, but that business relies on the XRP ledger, just like there's a Bitcoin ledger and Ethereum ledger, there's an XRP ledger. And it relies on the digital asset XRP, which we believe is faster, cheaper, more transparent to move than other digital assets.
All right, guys, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys. Peace.